I was going to take attendance, but I think I'll skip. I'm going to tell some stories today, mostly stories about memory. And my father is going to figure in some of these, so I might as well introduce him to you. Like all memories, he's here and not here. Alerting us at the outset to memory's adaptive function, which is to deal with absence by constructing a surrogate mental presence. Now, my father enjoyed speaking in public, which wouldn't be noteworthy, but for the fact that at age 53, he had his voice box removed. When, 37 years later, he turned 90, my sister and I threw a party for him and made sure there was a microphone handy. My father began by reaching into his jacket pocket for a small stack of file cards and begged his audience to excuse his reliance on notes because, after all, I'm not 89 anymore. I beg a similar indulgence with less warrant. But first, some logistics. For those of you who bet that I would not follow through on my retirement, we'll settle up after. Really, I wasn't about to ignore the top 10 signs that tell you it's time to retire from academia. You all know. You don't know those? Oh, well. You know it's time to retire when? Number 10. You've changed the message on your answering machine at work to say, yes, I'm still here. Number 9, Samuel Beckett doesn't see the slightest bit of absurdity. Number 8, the only meaning you know for blackboard is a slate object you write on with chalk. Number 7, you forget when your memory seminar starts. Number 6, your favorite Ellington tune used to be Take the A Train, now it's Don't Get Around Much Anymore. Number 5, Shakespeare's late plays are beginning to look like early plays. Number 4, you try to remember that kind of September when life was slow and oh so mellow, and you can't. Number 3, when in autumn the leaves begin to fall. Number 2, you suddenly realize the reason your lecture is going so well is that you already gave it. And the number 1 sign it's time to retire from academia. You've been punching a clock at the University of Pittsburgh for so long that now the clock is punching back. In what follows, I'm going to retrace the steps that brought me to the study of memory. Shakespeare would say, I'll be plumbing the dark, backward, and abysm of time to untangle the roots of memory. John Locke would say, as he did say in 1690 no less, that I'll be looking at how memory constitutes our temporally disparate selves into one self, myself. My academic interest in memory began with a eureka moment when I realized that scientists and playwrights had never been put into conversation over memory. No intellectual history of memory took drama into account, nor did any history of drama foreground memory as a property of dramatic construction. Indeed, so great was the divide that I had to coin a term, memographer, to bring together writers and thinkers about memory irrespective of discipline. So I'm going to link up pairs of memographers, a playwright and a scientist, with my own personal reminiscences, Edward Casey's lovely conflation of reminiscence and rumination. I'll be sharing personal memories because inevitably, memory copes with external contexts from the autobiographical viewpoint inscribed in an individual's unique brain. Reminiscence number 1. My first reminiscence raises a question some of you know the answer to, but please don't shout it out. I was trying to remember the name of the chair of the studio arts department when I came to Pitt in 1969. Now, he was one of the first colleagues I met. I knew his name as well as my own. I could see his face, well, you know how it is. I began a mental search and display tactic. His sculptures were distributed around campus, so I envisioned them to see if they could trigger a recollection. No luck. I pictured his house on Craig Street. I called up the names of other department chairs. Nope. I knew he had an Italian name. Phil Pavia? No, that was an Italian sculptor I knew in New York. So I started to think of other Italian sculptures. Michelangelo, not good. But wait, I got that surge of association that stops just short of memory. So I started to think of other famous Italians from the past. Dante, another surge. Dante's guide was Virgil. It's Virgil. I had the first name, and the second name was on the tip of my tongue. The Divine Comedy.
Cantini.
Cantini. Cantos. Cantini. So, Virgil Cantini was his name. Now, why was it that I instinctively attempted to prompt my memory by following one neural pathway or another? I know the answer. Because at both the encoding phase and the retrieval phase of memory, the brain engages in what a former colleague, Jay McClellan, named parallel distributed processing. Complicated name, a simple concept. The ability to deposit a bit of perception simultaneously along an uncountable number of the 500 trillion connective pathways there are in the brain. The distributed nature of neural representations virtually redefines brain function as a map or pattern of connections. We don't remember items as such, although it may seem that way. We remember relations. Memory is a procedure of continuous categorization, causing the brain to reorganize itself ceaselessly under constant external and internal stimuli. Memory both marks or scores an encounter with the life world, yet revises, distributes, reconstructs it, and in so doing, renews our brains. Jay McClellan published his findings in 1986. A year earlier, the playwright Sam Shepard had premiered his deceptively titled A Lie of the Mind. Shepard's long-standing preoccupations with consciousness, memory, and the American past place him with memographers who conceive of memory simultaneously as cerebral and social, a procedure driven both by connectionism in the brain and context in the real world. A Lie of the Mind maps the relationship of individual memory to the historical memory of the American past and to the collective memory enforced in the domains of manhood and family. In one line of the plot, Beth, who has been so profoundly beaten by her husband Jake that she is brain injured and amnesiac, struggles to reclaim her memory. In another line of plot, Jake attempts to recover and rehabilitate the memory of his war hero father, whose fiery death in a drunk driving accident Jake claims to have forgotten. The plot lines converge as Jake, literally wrapped in the flag, and his brother Frankie traveled from Southern California to Beth's home in Montana, where the men in her family mete out their revenge. Paralleling these lines, Jake's mother Lorraine and sister Sally embark upon what most would consider a healthy forgetting, an attempt to disconnect themselves from male-dominated memories reinforced by an old West mythology fraught with violence. Beth's amnesia is the extreme physical expression of the two families' fractured collective memory, itself signifying cultural and historical amnesia. In A Lie of the Mind, the role of historian is splintered or distributed so that each member of each family remembers some aspect of family behavior and history, though some can't remember whether events happened to them or others. The shadowy, bare, and skeletal setting of the play symbolizes the American West. Realistically, we know that Beth's family has a ranch in Billings, Montana, and Jake's people are Okies from Southern California, but the set also feels cerebral, consisting of partially constructed rooms in different locales surrounded by voids of darkness, suggesting a fluid, gappy consciousness. Sometimes we see simultaneously what is happening in California and Montana, when in the final scene, Lorraine sets a fire to burn family memorabilia. It is mysteriously visible to Beth's mother, Meg, 1,500 miles away. It is almost as if the two families are mapped on the same extensive neural network, sharing a lie of the mind, lie understood as the specific physical environment of an object, as when we use the word to describe the resting place of a golf ball. Thus, a lie of the mind also depicts the lay of the land, an American panorama in which national, collective, and personal memories faultily interconnect. The splintered histories of these families are distributed in parallel fashion along multiple pathways in need of reconstruction and reconnection, even as my distributed memory of Virgil Cantini's name finally struck a match.